Japanese immigrants came to Canada at will in 1877 until 1927. By 1914, 10,000 people from Japan had settled permanently in Canada. They abandoned their overcrowded villages to find work denied to them in Japan, like fishing and farming. The women then moved to Canada because of more opportunities they would get in Canada and also because of social justice. The journey was through rough seas and cramped and disturbing boats. In a boring situation. The problem is that they are in a place with not enough food. They are put in a tight space to sleep. They can barely fit. The Japanese felt banished and discriminated through racism because the Canadian government set laws that were meant to remove Japanese from Canada. The Japanese were treated unfairly. Example, lower wages for Japanese. They were denied the right to vote and were discouraged by the other Canadians. They were unfairly treated and paid lower than minimum wage and were accused of stealing drugs. The government set a series of laws to force the Japanese and all other Asians out of Canada. Homes, cars, businesses, and personal properties were all claimed and sold by the government. They took away some rights during the period of World War II. The Japanese people farmed and fished, so they saved the Canadians time, and the Canadians could do something else, possibly more productive. The men of the families could stay with the family if they were on a farm and they didn't work. They would be separated from their families, but they probably would work just to be with his family. 46 years after Japan claimed war on Canada, in 1988, the Prime Minister, Brian Mulroney, apologized to the Japanese Canadian citizens. Now, people take Japanese as their allies and treat them with respect. People have a deeper respect for Japanese Canadians since the internment camps and World War II left the miserable and depressing scar on every Japanese who was in the Japanese internment center. The Japanese were excluded from the Canadian society before World War II. They lived in Japanese communities which had traditional teachers so they could be updated on the culture. The children woke up early, had breakfast, and then went to school. The women tended the sick at community hospitals or maintained the counter at the local store. The men headed out for jobs in towns or went off to the fields to harvest berries. The families moved to camps occasionally.